The old library stood hidden, tucked away behind a bustling street. Mia, a college student with a thirst for knowledge, found it by chance. Or maybe it was fate. The building seemed to beckon her, whispering promises of forgotten tales. The heavy oak doors creaked open, revealing a world untouched by time. The air hung heavy with the scent of aging paper and leather. Dust motes danced in the faint beams of sunlight that pierced through the arched windows. Mia felt a thrill course through her. This was no ordinary library. She wandered through labyrinthine aisles, her fingers trailing along the spines of countless volumes. Each title seemed to whisper secrets, beckoning her deeper into the library's embrace. A sense of wonder washed over her, mingled with a touch of apprehension. This place held a certain magic, a feeling that anything was possible. Mia stumbled upon a section tucked away in the library's depths. The books here were different, bound in leather, their covers bare, devoid of any titles. An inexplicable pull drew her towards them. It was as if they were calling out to her, whispering her name. She reached out, her fingers trembling slightly, and traced the smooth surface of one of the books. As she did, a title shimmered into existence, faint at first, then growing bolder. It was her name, etched in elegant script. A shiver ran down her spine. What was this place? Heart pounding in her chest, she carefully lifted the book from the shelf. Its weight felt strangely comforting in her hands. As she opened the cover, a musty scent wafted up, like the ghosts of memories long past. The pages were thin and delicate, the ink faded with time. The first line leaped out at her. Mia hesitated at the coffee shop door, her hand hovering over the handle. It was a description of what she had done just that morning. This book, she realized with a start, was her life. But how could that be? Mia devoured the words, her mind reeling. The book detailed her life with uncanny accuracy. It described her thoughts, her feelings, even the most mundane details of her day. But then, the narrative shifted. It began to describe events that hadn't happened yet. She read about a chance encounter at the library, a conversation that would lead to a new friendship. At first she dismissed it as mere fantasy. But then, the very next day, it happened, exactly as the book described. The words on the page were shaping her reality. Fear warred with fascination within her. Was this a glimpse into her preordained destiny? Was everything already decided? Every choice, every consequence laid out before her? The thought was both exhilarating and terrifying. She found herself at a crossroads. Could she defy what was written, or was she merely a puppet, dancing to the tune of a fate she couldn't escape? The weight of the unknown pressed down on her, threatening to suffocate her. Driven by a desperate need to understand, Mia delved deeper into the library. She discovered countless books, each one detailing the life of a different person. Some were filled with joy and laughter, others with heartbreak and despair. She found herself drawn to a book that bore the name of her childhood friend, a friend she hadn't seen in years. The book painted a picture of a life she could barely recognize, filled with missed opportunities and unfulfilled dreams. A profound sadness washed over her. As she explored further, she realized that for every life story, there were countless variations, each one branching off from a single decision, a single moment in time. It was a labyrinth of possibilities, a testament to the infinite potential that lay within each human life. The library was no longer just a repository of stories. It was a mirror reflecting the boundless possibilities of existence, the intricate tapestry of choices and consequences that shaped a human life. But who curated this collection? Who were the authors of these life stories? One evening, as the last rays of sunlight painted the library in hues of orange and purple, Mia encountered a man. He was sitting alone at a table, his face obscured by the dim light. He seemed ancient, his eyes filled with a wisdom that spoke of centuries spent among the written word. He introduced himself as the librarian, the keeper of this sacred space. He spoke of the library's true purpose, its existence as a testament to the power of choice. The books, he explained, were not set in stone. They were fluid, ever-changing, reflecting the ebb and flow of human will. "The future is not predetermined, young one," he said, his voice a low murmur that echoed through the silent library. "It is a garden of forking paths, each step you take leading you to a new destination." His words struck a chord within Mia. They offered a glimmer of hope, a sense of agency in a world that suddenly felt both chaotic and exhilarating. She was not merely a passenger on a predetermined course. She had the power to choose her own path, to write her own story. The librarian led her to a special room, a room bathed in soft white light. In the center stood a single table, and upon it lay a book bound in pristine white leather. It was her book, the librarian explained, but it was blank. This was where she could write her own future, should she choose to do so. Mia reached out, her fingers trembling slightly as they touched the smooth leather. The weight of the book felt different now, heavier somehow. It wasn't just a book. It was a symbol of the immense power and terrifying responsibility that came with free will. She could fill its pages with her deepest desires, her wildest dreams. She could script a life of success, of love, of happiness. But what about the unexpected detours, the unplanned adventures, the serendipitous moments that made life worth living? Doubt gnawed at her. Could she bear the burden of knowing, of controlling every twist and turn in her fate? Or was it better to embrace the unknown, to allow life to unfold organically with all its messy imperfections? Mia stood there for a long time, the weight of the decision pressing down on her. The blank book beckoned, promising control, certainty, a life free from pain and disappointment. But something held her back. A flicker of rebellion, a spark of the unknown ignited within her. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and gently pushed the book away. She didn't need to write her future. She wanted to live it, with all its uncertainties, its heartbreaks, and its triumphs. The beauty of life, she realized, lay not in knowing but in experiencing, in embracing the unknown with open arms. With a newfound sense of freedom, Mia stepped out of the library and into the bustling city. The world seemed different now, vibrant, full of possibilities. She didn't know what the future held, but she was ready to face it, to write her own story, one imperfect, messy, and utterly unique chapter at a time. The blank pages of her life awaited.